Okay, so I wanted to do a quick comparison of different grain mills. I have owned this one for 7 years. It is the kitchen mill Blentec, and I really like it. And I can explain why later. And this is a friend's, the Wondermill, and then this is also another friend's, the Nutrimill Classic, and then this is another friend's, the KitchenAid kitchen mill. And I always had the Blentec or Ktec, formerly Ktec, kitchen mill, and I just wanted to compare how the quality of flour they make. There's various coarseness selections on these two, and this one, and this one. They all, you can select the fineness of all of them. So I just wanted to see how they compared and thought maybe others would appreciate that as well. Okay, I'm going to try out the Wondermill first. I'm just going to take 1 cup of hard white wheat, and this one you're supposed to turn on before you fill it, so I will do that, and it should be pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to put it on the pastry setting, yeah, all the way over as far as I can get it, and we'll see what it turns out like. It is far quieter than the Blentec mill, so. Okay, so I did this, and it's slower than the Blentec that I'm used to, but it did fine. And here I will compare all the flour after I mill the rest of them. But it feels slightly coarser, so we'll see how it compares. It's hard to say without having it right next to it, but it benefits much quieter. Con, it's slower, and that's all I can think of. It did spit, towards the end, it did spit a few wheat berries out, but this one, the Blentec one does that as well. It didn't do hardly any. So, okay, so the other couple things about this one is it has this separator cup, just like all of them do, I believe, which is fine, and this filter, which needs to be cleaned every time. And the setup was very easy. All I did was I rotated this and hook it up into here and make sure the separator cup is on and this filter is in place, and then decide on the setting and then turn it on and add the grain. It was very, very simple. Okay, so now I'm going to try the Nutrimill Classic, which I'm not sure if it's even owned by this company, the Liquip, anymore. I'm not 100% sure about that, but so this is what this one looks like. So it's a little more, it's still very simple. It has the separator cup you have to put in place. And then you put this all together, slide this into place, and then you slide this in this way right there. Make sure it's nice and in place. And it has obviously a much larger hopper. I mean, you can see this compared to this. So, I mean, it is supposed to hold 13 cups of wheat in this one, and I don't know which is supposed to produce 21 cups of flour, which I don't think I would ever do that much at once. I normally grind once a week, my wheat once a week. So I'll do this one and give you an idea here. So this one also has 2 different settings here. The motor, which controls the fineness how fast it mills, I guess, and controls how fine it mills. And then this is the feed rate, how quickly it goes through, which also would affect the coarseness, I would assume. So right now it said to set it, if I set it at 10 o'clock, it doesn't feed through most grains. That would have to be a really small grain, maybe like quinoa. So it said 11 or 12 is the best setting for most hard grains. And then I'm going to put this right here for the finest setting of flour. So we'll see. Okay, again, this one is quieter, I think, than the Blendtec kitchen mill. It is intended to be used with the lid to decrease the sound. So I still wouldn't say it's as quiet as the Wondermill, which is also the same as the Whisper Mill. So we'll see how this compares. Okay, so this one was really fast, faster than the Wondermill. And here, okay, so here's what it produced. Quantity and texture we will compare shortly, but it was fine. It was fine. My biggest concern with this mill is the size. It is ginormous, and finding a spot to store it in my kitchen would be challenging. So we'll look at the next one here. Okay, the other thing with this Nutrimill is it has this storage spot for the cord. Okay, next I'm going to try the kitchen mill, and I've attached it to my KitchenAid, and I just have the classic standard KitchenAid, nothing special, and this indicates coarse to fine. I'm going to do finest, make sure that's nice and tight, and I'm just going to feed it in here. The difference between this one and the other two, they may not be the other three, is this one actually is a physical grinding, where these ones, all three of these, they do it's a burst chamber, where they actually burst the grain. This actually physically grinds it, just like a stone mill. Okay, so well, that didn't work. Attempt number 2 with this one. Unfortunately, the first time it actually torqued and didn't stay locked in. It doesn't quite fit. See, it should go in about a quarter of an inch further into the mill here, and so the locking nut here, it does not quite reach. So I don't know if that's just my KitchenAid or what, because my friend that let me borrow this, she really likes this mill. So anyways, the torque caused it to turn, and it spilled all over. So we're going to try it again. Okay, so I ground just a little bit here. It's not working for me. It's just not, it wants to turn off. It kind of scoots out and then starts turning with the torque. So it's just not going to work for me, but very, very coarse on the finest. So this would be more for like cereals and cracked wheat, or coarse breads. So not yeast breads, I would say. Okay, lastly, this is the Blentec kitchen mill. This is the one I know and I like. It also has a filter. It's different style. It's called an F filter, for obvious reasons, and it just sticks in the side there. It has the separator cup down in there. It's smaller, much smaller. This inverts went for storage and fits inside of here, and this is flat flush. You take the cup off and you store it right in here, and it fits in a box just a little bit larger than this size. and which I appreciate because I have a small house and kitchen. But it is very loud. It sounds like an airplane taking off. So here, I'll show you. Okay, so here this goes. These really start flying out towards the end, so I have to keep my hand right here to keep them from flying out. But it's really fast. Okay, so it's still winding down. It's so loud, so loud, like an airplane taking off. So we will, you have to make sure that these tabs are down, otherwise it spews. And it has a little gasket all the way around the motor right here, and it does it does prevent it from flying out through this gap. So I've had to replace that probably 4 times over the last 7 years, maybe 3 times over the last 7 years, and then I've had to replace this once. So now I will compare. Okay, so here's all the flowers separated, and I'm going by touch, just by feel. These two are very similar, very similar. I don't know if I can tell a difference between those two. Very similar. The KitchenAid doesn't compare to any of them. The Blentec is definitely the finest. It's close to these two, but it's definitely finer. It's softer and has finer texture. So I'm gonna go with fineness. This one wins. Quiet. These two are very quiet, very simple. It's probably this one, the KitchenAid one, is very simple, but it didn't work for me very well. And if you want a fine flour for making yeast spreads, I would go with, if you're looking for quiet, this one. Simple, quiet. Not as fine as this one if you want fine whole grain flour, which I prefer. This is what I make my breads with, and I like my breads a lot. So I'll play around with these two a little more, see if I can get them any finer, but that's the consensus. They're all good mills. They're all very pricey though, so that's one reason why I wanted to do this. If mine ever dies, I wanted to know which one I should go for. So that is that.